Boker Tov. Good morning. It's Shabbat morning here. It's very cloudy, very rainy. This it's very unorthodox, I guess is the word for me to do back-to-back podcasts. But I just wanted to share this quick message, a quick word, a quick thought, and it's really kind of geared towards the men of the audience, but I believe that, or the husbands, and I believe that the wives will also find something very good in this as well. So with that, I just started reading a book, and it's called The Power of a Praying Husband by Stormy O'Martian. And as with anything, it seems like whether it's the scriptures or I'm reading a book, I come across a passage not long after I start reading, and I go off on all kinds of rabbit trails, and it happened once again this morning as I'm reading the introduction. I finished the introduction, and it goes right into a verse, Proverbs 18:22, that's written on one page by itself. It says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from Yahuwah." And so I'm like, that's interesting. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from Yahuwah. Well, favor, that's grace. And speaking, as a husband, we all know that when we found our spouses, that it was a good thing. And most definitely we need favor. We need grace. And I began writing down a few notes. I just wanted to share this with you. I know this is off topic from the Shabbat festival this weekend tomorrow. But I wanted to share it because, Father he's ever growing us. He's ever teaching us, and he's desiring more than ever the unity of the body of Messiah. And really that begins with the unity of the family and the marriage covenant. And I'm not saying that Shaul did not find a good thing because he didn't find a wife. I believe there are some that he gives that extra favor and anointing and power to overcome the flesh and what it desires for the sake of the kingdom. But for the majority of us who are married, we've not necessarily been given that anointing. What it is we are most common among men. In other words, what I'm trying to say is there are some that have been given a special anointing. There are some that have not been given. And, you can read in 1st and 2nd Corinthians as Shaul talks about that. So that aside, I wanted to flip over to Genesis 2:18 because I've always, this came up a couple of weeks ago, and I began writing on it, and I wanted to expound on the fact that in Genesis 2:18, which I'll read, it says, "And Yahuwah Elohim said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I am going to make a helper for him as his counterpart, or as is one that is suitable to him, comparable to him." And so these are kind of my thoughts on this, and I pray that you find this encouraging, because it has encouraged me, because I think we always, as men, need to understand and to be able to identify with our wives more and more, because as I'll get into later, she is the reflection of you. My wife Rivka reflects me. And if I want to take a good look at myself, I want to look at my wife, because that is the mirror, and it's how we love her. It's how we treat our wives that they'll reflect back, not only on us, but the rest of the members, the children, the rest of the family, the society and friends that are around her. So Genesis 2:18. So this is the first thing Elohim called that was not good, and what he's meaning is that man, it's not good that man is alone. And I want you to pay attention to what I'm fixing to say, because it's very powerful, and I'll go into what being alone really means here in a minute. But I want to listen to this statement here, and I wrote this down. I went back. I'm like, this is very powerful if we can meditate upon it. It says the unity derived from being echad, which echad means being one with your wife. The unity derived from being echad is for the purpose of executing the will of Elohim in the earth. And I'll give an example. And it's the highest example that I can give, because it is the Father and the Son, who are both echad as Father and Son, but they have specific functions. In other words, what 1 Corinthians 11, the head of Messiah is his Father. So there is an order that is established that the Father brought forth the Son for a purpose. Because you see, Abba, the Father, has a plan. He has an agenda that he wants to carry out. And together, being echad with his Son, his plan will get accomplished. It's the same, and it's the same with the wife and the man. Messiah sits at the right hand of the Father, so as the wife, she sits at the right hand of the man. Not that the man doesn't do anything, but I'm talking about as the plans and the agenda of the family, and the direction of where the family is going is upon the man himself. But he needs his wife. He needs that helper to help execute that plan, because he can't do it alone. And that, I think, one of the biggest lies of the enemy is that, we want to feel like, or the media or advertising wants to feel like the man doesn't need anybody. He calls his own shots. He's got this. And he doesn't need a woman except for to use her for his pleasures. The woman, the wife, is not a tool to be used as a pleasure, for the man. Is a tool to just meet his needs, and that's it. No, that is not why she was created. She was actually brought forth from the man. She is incomparable to the man, so she needs to be honored every as much as the man, as she honors the man. Because there is a proper order: Father, Messiah, man, and wife, or man and woman. There is an order of submission that, when is put in place, it will bring peace and order, and things get accomplished in the earth. Father's will gets accomplished. She is a helper, servant. Basically, that's what a helpmeet is. She's a servant. It does not mean that the woman is inferior to the man, because she was created, like I said, comparable to Adam. But it's what it goes back to is Matthew 20, verses 25 through 28. Messiah is talking about, if you want to be great, then this is what he's talking about. The Nicolaitan system in Revelation, the hierarchy, the pyramid. Father didn't set up the system that way. Messiah said, if you want to be great, you go and you wash the feet of other people. You serve other people. Jonathan David Heltzer's song in the middle, Messiah comes. He says, how could it be that a king would wash his servants' feet? The king of esteem would come down from heaven and leave his place of esteem and his position just to wash his servants' feet. This, and I'm identifying, yes, the head of the man is Messiah, but there are attributes that the woman has that are the same as Messiah. In other words, her sitting at the right hand of her husband. You see that as, the old world king and queen type thing. The queen sits beside the man. She helps him. She serves him. This is what Messiah came the first time. In other words, he came as a servant. And so this I'm just praying it will become a revelation, because it's very powerful when we can see that our wife, our helpmeet, our the one that we have chosen to enter into a covenant with, that she is not our enemy, that she is for us. That is her role. And I think that's why this book was written. Power of a Praying Husband really is for the woman, as the man prays, that his wife would come in to the fullness of her role as a wife, as a Proverbs 31 woman. Proverbs 18:22, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor or grace from Yahuwah. Finding a wife, we need as much grace as possible. Yes. And what does that mean? What does favor mean in the pictographic language, the old Semitic language? It actually means to continue life. When he gives us favor, he is allowing us to stumble across an oasis in the desert where we can drink some water, we can find a date tree, eat some dates, and we can continue our journey. It's the power to continue life. And in a marriage, we need the power to continue life, to continue going forward into all that he's created us to be. It says that he saw that man was alone. Of course, all the animals, they have pairs, but the man was alone. And what does that actually mean? If you go and you look it up, it means solitary, a wild ass, basically a donkey that likes to go off and be alone. It actually means to divide into parts. It means to separate, to withdraw, to go alone by itself. And the wild ass in Hosea 8:9, that is a simile, as it says in the Brown driver Briggs commentary. It actually means it's a simile of Ephraim, because Ephraim has gone off and separated himself and withdrawn himself from the covenant of Elohim. And this was a revelation to me. So remember what I said before, Messiah he's not a woman, he's a man. But in his attributes, the woman has, and the Messiah has the same, basically the calling, in his first calling, to come as a servant, to come as a helper, to come as a gatherer, which is what the woman does in Proverbs 31. The same attributes and character that she has is what Messiah has. So in this, here you have man that's alone. You have Hosea 8:9 that he's a wild ass, and Hosea is talking about Ephraim. Ephraim has gone alone by himself and separated himself. So Yahuwah sent Messiah for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, to bring them back into the fold. Messiah came to complete the identity of Ephraim. To me, that is powerful, because that is exactly what the woman does. That is exactly what the wife is to do, is to complete the man, to complete his identity. And she comes to unite. And Father saw that man was alone, and he created her to come and to complete what he was lacking, which is his identity. And that is what Messiah did. As he said, I came only but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, to bring them back into the fold. And I'm not saying that man was lost, but I'm in the aspect of, he saw that man was in disunity. He was separated into different parts. He saw basically this body with a hand over here and an ear over here and a foot, over there. And so he brought the woman to help the man gather the pieces and to form a body and to form a family. And that is, to me, is powerful. The wife completes the man and his desire to be needed. Men, we have a desire to be needed, whether you want to recognize it or not. It's not, even if you don't have any problem with insecurity, which is a whole nother thing, there is a need to be wanted, a need to be fulfilled. That's why men are so driven. Even the bachelors they're driven in their work and their jobs. They're driven in every aspect because they're searching. Now, I know what ultimately they're searching for is the peace of Messiah in their heart. But sometimes, in order for a man to find that, he's got to find a good wife. And the wife will lead the man to Messiah. What it is, there's a need to be wanted. In man, I'm talking about the human aspect of man, not man in general. But the man will go after whatever. That's why he gets involved in prostitution. He gets involved in pornography. Any and every way that he can try and meet this need that a wife is supposed to meet. It says that he will make, I have a note here that Yahuwah and the Son, they are two, but they are one. But they were, Messiah created and completed the plan and the agenda that was on the Father's heart. To me, that's exciting. It says that he will make a woman who is suitable. She's a helper that is suitable to the man. What does that mean? And suitable means in front of, in sight of, meaning she is in opposite to, or is a reflection of the man. The woman reflects the man behind her. She is the esteem of her husband. And what does that sound like? Hebrews 1, Messiah is also the esteem and the exact representation of his Father and all of his esteem. Messiah is, he's not comparable. He is not a woman, as I said before, but he is incomparable in the role of a woman, in his first coming and what he did. And this is a powerful revelation, because when he returns back, the culmination of the marriage, in other words, the culmination of the reason why that Father sent his Son to gather and to serve and to teach us what it means to love one another. All of this is going to be culminated for a greater purpose, and that is for the kingdom to come and for his Father to come. It's really is to bring unity, is what the greatest plan and the agenda of Father, why he created mankind, to have dominion. and mankind needs, the man and the woman together in unity to be able to complete this task. So, I'm bringing across several parallels that you can go out and study for yourself. But there is that parallel that the woman serves the man. It is a Rebecca and Isaac type of situation where she is the ultimate example of a servant. Messiah came as the ultimate example of a servant that both men and women need to learn from and to execute on a daily basis. And once we have proven ourselves as a servant, then we can be called friends. Then we can be exalted to sonship. Because he's not going to exalt us. And that is what we're after. We're after to return to what we were originally called to be as sons of the Most High. Messiah, actually, the first time he came to serve, he came to complete man's identity. Same as with the woman in the physical, in this natural world, and what she does. Because he is the reflection in the esteem of his Father. Here the order is right. Where there's proper order, there is peace. You have Elohim the Father, you have Messiah the Son, you have the man, and you have the woman. That's 1 Corinthians 11. Now the woman says he will make a woman a helper, suitable to man. What is helper? What is the helper? Naged is the Hebrew word for that. It means that she is a helper. It means in Hebrew an ally. And one of the things Coach Dave Dobbenmeyer, I think his name is, Coach Dave, that he said to his wife, and I've even used it before, right in the middle of an argument, or a discussion, maybe even a disagreement. You stop and you tell your wife, wait a minute, are we on the same side? Because I think we're on the same side. I know you're not my enemy. It is a reminder that your wife is an ally. That is, her job is to surround, protect, and aid. This is her role. I challenge each of us, man and woman, to go out and find out what the biblical role, if you're married, of a husband and a wife is. Because I'm finding more and more, I'm like, the world has said, okay, that the man is supposed to surround and protect his wife, which he does. She finds security in the fact that he surrounds her. But I find it interesting that the definition of a helper is also to surround and protect and to be an aid. That is also her role. Why is it almost the same? It's because, we're in a covenant together. And we both have these parts. I do this part for you, and you do this part for me. If I'm going to love you, you're going to submit to me gladly, because I'm showing you the love of Messiah. And in that you find security. And because of that, she finds security. She's going to do everything that she can to protect and surround that security. So I believe that as part of the role as the helper. And men, if you think that you got this, that, hey, I don't need any help, trust me, you don't got this. You need help. And your wife is your helper. She is your ally, and she is the one who is to be the reflection of all you stand for. And I want to bring one other thing up here, because I'm looking at this definition. If you dive down further, it means that as a helper, she is a messenger, one who expounds, exposes, announces. In other words, she basically, and wives don't take this wrong. Women, don't take this wrong, but you are the mouth of the family. In other words, you are the greatest messenger who will tell the greatness of her husband to others. When he is treating you right, then you are going to, you can't stop telling people. You can't stop making an announcement and declaring the praises of your husband. And that is also what Messiah came to do, was to declare the praises of his Father. And he basically, it's the same thing. He said only what his Father said. And a wife will do the same thing. If her husband loves her and treats her the way that he wants to be treated, she is going to profess and declare only what her husband says. She isn't going to, what's the word? She isn't going to misrepresent her husband by telling things that aren't true, by stretching things, or by ruining his reputation. She's going to share the greatness, and she is to be her husband's greatest fan, her greatest PR, public relation. She is the messenger, the one that will expound and expose and to profess and show forth. These are all the definitions of what a helper does. Yes, this is what a helper does. This is why she does it, because she is suitable. She's compared to him, and that is really, she is to be his ally and to be out in the forefront to represent and be the exact representation of her husband's esteem. In other words, it says, once again, and I'll close with this, it is not good for the man to be alone. I'm going to make a helper for him as his counterpart, or as one that is suitable to him. She is going to help him to be his greatest ally. She is for the family. She is for him. And she is going to represent him in all of his esteem by being his greatest messenger. And all of this is kind of wrapped up in Proverbs 31. And I want to end with this. It says, in my last note here, that I put a star by on my paper here, it says, however, she will always reflect her husband's heart. Not right away. You may be going through some things right now, and she is reflecting basically how that she's been treated. I'm not saying that the man is always the fault or the woman is always the fault, but in reality, if you make this black and white, if a man loves his wife as Messiah loves his body, she's going to reflect that. It may not happen right away, but eventually, through prayer and through fasting and through spiritual warfare, because the enemy is out to destroy marriages, eventually she will reflect what is on his heart and will reflect that love, and it will begin to happen. So if you're going through things, hold on. She will always reflect her husband's heart, not right away, but eventually. How he treats her will be in direct proportion of how she treats others, her family, herself, and finally her husband. Even how she even views herself is how that she is being treated. Why is there that attachment? It's because she came forth from Adam, right? She came forth from him as a suitable helper, as one that is compared to be appreciated and honored, just like the man. She is not subservient. She's not some kind of an inferior tool to for us men to use however we want to get whatever we need. So I want to encourage, and that's all I really had today. And I'll get back to reading my book now, and I promise I won't make another podcast. If I run across something, I'll just make a few notes, and maybe at a later time. But I want you to enjoy your Shabbat and go back and listen to this. Go back and look at, like I said, the biblical role of a husband and a wife, because it is so much part of our life. Those of us who are married, it affects so much of our lives and where we are going. We as men have the plans. We have the agenda. If you don't know that plan and agenda should be primary in finding out, because really that should be the will of Father of where He wants to use you and your wife. I'm not saying that you have to do everything together, because she may do one thing, but she should always support you in what you're doing, and even working together. There should be, what I'm trying to say is there should be unity. Remember, your plans that you have and your direction that you feel like the Father is taking you, won't really necessarily be executed the way that it should be, the way Father intended it to be, if you ignore your wife, if you don't value her input, if you don't appreciate what she does. Because, I'm sure that there is a scripture I'm trying to remember. It almost came to me, but anyway, I'll leave that up to you to go out and research what I'm saying. And so I want to take this time now to appreciate and to say thank you to my wife, Rivka, who has loved me, has prayed for me, and has grieved and has taken on my own struggles and has supported me secretly and silently in prayer to the Most High Elohim. And I wouldn't be where I am today without her prayers. And I just wanted to say thank you, and that I love you, Rivka, with all of my heart. And my prayer is that I love you more and more every day, as Messiah loves his body more and more and gives his life and has given his life for her. So shall it be with me. Blessings and shalom to all of you. And have a great Shabbat and a joyous festival, Shavuot, starting tonight at sunset. Shalom.